Welcome to the Real World Podcast. My name is Cameron. This is my brother Carson.
Hey, glad to be here.
We are
Premiere Cinemas.
Yeah, Premiere LUX Cinema 8 and Pizza Pub right here in Plant City. We're excited to be doing our first podcast from right here in the lobby.
Yes.
So excited. Thank you so much to the amazing staff here. They've done a great job accommodating us and making us feel right at home.
Yeah, totally.
This is our home away from home.
We're
here all the time.
I know. What better place to talk about movies than in a theater?
Absolutely. It's kind of unprecedented. I don't know of any podcast that comes to you live from a theater.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
That's pretty cool. So we're really excited to be here doing our first podcast. This episode is all about a look back at 2023.
Yeah.
All the movies that were released, we're going to talk about our favorites. We're going to talk about the biggest hits, the biggest surprises, the biggest disappointments. All of it is going to be talked about on this episode. Let's get started. All right, so just like on our typical podcast, we are going to start off with some movie news. So
I've heard none of this, so hit me. What's our news?
Here we go. All right, so movie news story number one: Gerard Butler has been cast in the live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, really?
So he is returning to the role of Stoic the Vast.
Wow.
In How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action film, which is being directed by Dean Dubois, who directed the first 3 animated films as well.
Interesting.
So I don't think this has ever happened where we've had an animated movie come into live action with the same director and one of the same actors too.
That's interesting.
So it's pretty cool.
Really I had no idea that was even happening.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see exactly how they do that. I'm not sure. So we'll just have to keep a lookout. There's no release date for the movie yet. They haven't even started shooting, but casting announcement should be coming soon. All right, so the second news story today is that The Rock has been cast as an MMA fighter. He's doing a biopic.
Well, what an interesting role for him.
I know.
Considering
WWE,
that
MMA.
Very
so
interesting.
It's going to be interesting. He said that he wants to find more humanity in his roles. He wants to do some different kinds of films.
Okay.
So
he wants to do movies that aren't advertisements for his tequila.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yes. Watch the Patrick Williams video if you haven't seen that.
Or just watch Red Notice.
Right, exactly. So he's teaming up with Benny Safdie, who we're big fans of the Safdie brothers. They did Good Time.
Are we? Oh, Good Time. Love
They
Good Time.
did Uncut Gems, which is one of your favorites.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the best Adam Sandler performances.
Yeah, so one of the Safdie brothers is going off on his own to do this movie with The Rock.
Cool.
It's a kind of hard-hitting drama.
Interesting.
About an MMA fighter by the name of Mark Kerr.
Yeah, that's an interesting move for Dwayne's career to kind of pivot at this point.
He's done a lot of action and comedy.
Exactly, and I think this is kind of, seems to me, like a response to Black Adam. Because I think if Black Adam had been a knockout success, I don't think he'd be doing stuff like this.
Exactly.
So
I agree.
Black Adam's failure might actually be a good thing in the long run.
Yeah, it could be. We'll have to wait and see. Again, that movie hasn't started shooting yet, but we'll have to wait and see for a release date. Third and final news story here: Robert Duvall, one of my favorite actors, turned 93 this week.
Wow, really?
Yes, and he's still working. I mean, he's done movies in recent years. Some of my favorites, of course, going back to the 70s, Apocalypse Now. He's great in that.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, he did Open Range, one of my favorite westerns with Kevin Costner. And then one of our family's favorites, Kicking and Screaming.
Of course.
It's just so funny.
Yeah.
He does a great job in that role. It's kind of an underrated movie. So just had to mention that because he is a favorite actor of mine.
Yeah, that's interesting. That actually reminds me, Dick Van Dyke recently had a birthday, and he had a big special.
That's right.
That was really entertaining. I got to watch that with Dad, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 98.
He is. Yeah.
That's wild.
He's up on 100 years old.
And I mean, crazy. He's still in Mary Poppins Returns.
I know. He's dancing on tables.
I know. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yeah, he's a treasure.
He is, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of older actors that I like that they're still working, like Harrison Ford, of course, just did the last Indiana Jones. I like seeing those classic actors that have been in so many movies that we enjoyed growing up and still working.
Seeing people like Clint Eastwood
work
behind the camera. And take all of the years of experience that they have.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just makes for great films.
It really does. All right, well, that's it for movie news. Let's jump into our main topic. All right, so last year, 2023, was a big year for movies.
It was a big year for movies.
A lot of movies came out.
Yeah, a lot of big movies.
Big movies. A lot of big swings.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies that missed big time too. But I think the studios are learning. I think some recent things we've heard from some executives, they kind of are realizing that not every movie can make $1 billion.
Right.
So maybe we should bring the budgets down.
And the movies that do make $1 billion sometimes aren't the ones you expect.
Exactly. Yeah. So number one film of the year, box office wise, was Barbie. $1.4 billion.
I mean, if ever there was a commercially successful movie, it would be Barbie.
Yes.
I mean, it's based on
That's true. It's been around a long time.
Existing IP, and
but there's no like other Barbie movie. It's not a franchise yet.
Well,
I mean, now it's probably
you have all of
one.
the direct-to-DVD.
The direct-to-DVD animated
Barbie
movies.
animated
That's a good point. That's a good point. A lot of
little
people are
girls
fans of those.
are obsessed with
Good point.
since the 90s.
Good point.
So in that way, it kind of is a nostalgia bait thing.
Good point.
Where it's
Good
kind of,
point.
it kind
Sure.
of it has a built-in
built-in
audience already,
right?
which
Exactly.
is interesting.
Exactly.
Even though it's an original film.
Yeah, exactly. Greta Gerwig directed that and wrote it with Noah Baumbach, and Margot Robbie stars with Ryan Gosling. It's now streaming on Max if you want to check it out. Second highest grossing film of the year, another built-in IP.
Yeah.
The Super Mario Brothers movie. This was an animated film that people were very excited about.
Sure.
Obviously,
Sure.
families came out in droves to see this.
Yeah, we've been talking about a Nintendo-oriented video game movie for a long time.
Yes.
Mario's definitely the way to start doing it.
Right.
And hopefully, because of its success, this movie plays it very safe. It's very, whatever.
It's by the numbers, but it's fun. It's fun.
But I
It's
think
colorful.
because they played it safe and because it was good, that the upcoming Legend of Zelda project
Yes.
will hopefully
A lot of
take
people are excited
more
about that.
risks, because I'm a huge fan of that video game
And
franchise.
that's going to be live action, which is going to be a totally different beast.
I know.
So very curious to see who they cast, what they end up doing there.
We'll see.
So that made 1.3 billion.
Okay.
And then coming in third, almost reached a billion, $955 million was brought in by Oppenheimer. So
right
of course
behind
we had
Barbie,
the big Barbenheimer event. They both came on the same weekend. A lot of people went and saw both of these in the same weekend. Very different film from Barbie.
Drastically
Barbie's
different.
very colorful and silly. This is very somber and serious, as Nolan does. So very interested to see that that's his biggest movie that he's ever made.
Yeah, that is interesting, and it's weird because, I mean, for the guy who does a Batman movie, I think Batman is the biggest, most popular thing you could do.
Of course,
So it's really, I think, the cultural events surrounding Oppenheimer and Barbie that really made it so successful.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that. I wonder how that will affect future movies going forward.
Yeah, who knows?
Because it was such a big deal.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And then next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, pulled in $845 million, the latest from James Gunn and Marvel Studios. I think they did a great job with that one. Wrapped up the franchise, the whole trilogy there.
Yeah, I agree.
And it definitely pulled in quite a bit. Marvel still has some pull at the box office, although some of their films were pretty big disappointments this year. Didn't do very well at all.
Right.
That one definitely did. Again, I think it's because people really like those characters so much. That really is a character-based trilogy.
And the fact that James Gunn returned, I think, was a big deal for a long time. We thought he was done.
He was never going to come back. Right.
So it definitely felt like a fond farewell.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Next few films I'll run through. Fast X, of course, the 10th film in the Fast and Furious franchise, made $714 million. That's kind of a part one to their big finale they're doing.
Right.
That was kind of a trend this year. Mission Impossible did a part one finale. The next one, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, kind of did the same thing.
Sure. It's
kind
a part
of
two.
A part
part
two
two
of
of
three
three.
parts
Sure.
trilogy that pulled in $690 million. Then a couple of Chinese films. The Chinese box office, of course, globally is huge.
Of course.
Full River Red pulled in $673 million. Then we have The Wandering Earth 2 with $604 million.
Far better than The Wandering Earth 1.
I'm assuming. I've never seen either one. Actually, they're on Netflix, so I'm going to check them out. Yeah.
Maybe we should check them out.
They're supposed to be pretty good. And then, of course, Disney had a pretty big hit with The Little Mermaid live-action adaptation, $569 million. And then we had Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning with $567 million worldwide. So those are the global box office hits. Then we're going to jump to domestically. So domestically,
that's global. That's
exactly.
Like
The worldwide, every foreign territory,
Right.
including the U.S. Now we're just going to look at the U.S. box office. The same ones go for the top two, Barbie and Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
And then at number 3 was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So in the U.S., that one did very, very well.
Well, as diverse of a movie as this is, I'm surprised it didn't succeed better overseas.
And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy 3, of course. Then Oppenheimer, then Little Mermaid, then Quantumania, the new Ant-Man movie. Amy Lost Quantumania made it in the top 10.
Hey, I'm surprised it made it in the top 10.
I am
honestly.
too.
Everyone's
I'm pretty
always been
surprised.
talking about Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue, how we're tired of all this stuff.
But it still has pull here in the U.S. especially.
I know. It's interesting.
And then one of my favorites of the year, John Wick Chapter 4. The final chapter in that franchise came in at
a lot of final chapters this year.
Yeah, I
as
know.
well.
A lot of send-offs for big characters. Then we had Sound of Freedom, the sleeper box office hit that came out of nowhere. Small studio, independent studio, Angel Studios brought that one out, and it did big box office numbers, surpassing the 10th film, which was a cultural event, I feel like, in many ways as well, especially for a certain segment of the population. Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, came in at number 10.
Really?
Yes, the concert film, which all Swifties
I didn't
were
realize.
nuts about, dancing in the aisles, all the crazy videos we've seen.
It's wonderful. If you've ever been to a concert film in a theater, it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's very concert-y feeling.
Exactly. Especially if there's a lot of big fans of the thing. Which that's all that's going to come see it, is big fans of whatever it is.
I remember one time I went to a concert movie. It was Stop Making Sense from Talking Heads. It was their concert. And it was back in theaters, and I went with a small group of friends, and it was only us in the whole theater.
Oh, wow.
So we were just running around, dancing, screaming, going crazy the whole time. It was great.
That's great.
Wonderful theater experience.
Very cool. All right, well, that's it for the big box office hit. So that's what audiences came out in droves to see. Now we want to break down our personal favorites of the year, which are two different lists.
Sure. Different tastes.
That's slightly different. So let's run through some of these. One of my favorites of the year, my favorite movie franchise, favorite movie characters, Indiana Jones. So Dial of Destiny, I thought was great. I really enjoyed it. Had a great time watching it. It was a great send-off for that character. I felt like James Mangold did a good job stepping in for Spielberg. I thought, he very much captured the tone and the essence and the spirit of the character.
Yeah.
And so really enjoyed that one. What's your number one?
My number one is, of course, Across the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse
There's Nothing Like It. It somehow topped the first one in my mind. I love Gwen Stacy as a character, so going deeper into her, much more focus, a full arc for her.
You get to see her whole world, the whole kind of watercolors. I mean, just what they did visually. There was
more Spider people, more Spider-Verses.
Yeah. We go to different worlds.
Exactly. It's kind of the inverse of what happened in Into the Spider-Verse.
Right, where they came to his world.
They all came to Miles, and now Miles is going.
Yeah.
So definitely loved it visually. Stunning.
Absolutely. Another one, Guardians 3. I think was excellent. I'm a huge fan of that franchise, and I thought again the send-off there was very good. I know both of us have Godzilla -1 very high as well.
Absolutely.
That was a big event for us.
That's my number two.
Yeah, that was my number 2 as well. It came out of nowhere. A foreign film, Japanese film that was released here in the U.S.
Just a great, super well-rounded movie.
Super well-rounded, super kind of straightforward, simple, but has a lot of deep themes, social and political, themes to it that I think really hit hard, and great characters. That was the thing.
Absolutely.
That the characters really were just endearing, and so also has the huge, great Godzilla action and destruction that you want from those movies too. So it really was a well-made movie on every level. Kind of put Hollywood to shame. The budget was so low.
Right. And it looks so good with such a small budget.
Great.
It's amazing. The special effects just amazing.
Yeah.
And the recreations of shots from the original movie, it's just a great. I want to say 75th anniversary.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, exactly.
For the character of Godzilla, who's such a cultural icon.
Yeah.
So, great film.
Definitely. Then of course John Wick 4, as I mentioned before, big fan of that series as well, and how each movie keeps topping it. The last one, like every time they find some new crazy thing to do, the crazy action sequences, the things that they shot in the Louvre and that they shot at
the staircase.
The staircase sequence, the roundabout in France. Just all this crazy stuff that they did was really impressive. And that they still told a character-focused story, wrapping it up in a satisfying way.
Brought it kind of full circle.
Definitely.
A lot of callbacks to the original John Wick movie.
Yes.
Definitely felt like a great companion piece to that.
Yeah. Keanu did a great job, as always, and Chad Stahelski is a director that I can't wait to see what he does next. I knew he was working on a Ghost of Tsushima film.
Very excited for that. Love the game.
He's working on a new Highlander reboot. He's working on all kinds of stuff. So very curious to see what he does next. Looking forward to that.
Well, my number 3 was The Boy and the Heron.
Oh, really?
Which
Okay.
it's a Miyazaki movie. It's Studio Ghibli,
Right.
and it's one of the most just imaginative,
Yeah.
creative,
Yeah.
unexpectedly heartfelt movies that he's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a master of cinematic
Definitely,
storytelling at this point. He's
definitely.
made so many movies.
Yeah.
And this was just a great kind of combo of so many different things that he's done in the past.
Yeah.
And
A
yet-
culmination.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it still feels fresh and new and different.
Right.
But it very much feels like a Miyazaki film.
This isn't a good first Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah, right.
If you're
yeah,
not
sure,
familiar
good
with
point.
the style and kind of the structure of those
Right.
movies,
Yeah.
it's very jarring.
It can be, yeah. Although they kind of ease you into it. They kind of ease you into it in this one.
But as someone who has seen basically all of them up to this point, this feels like the crowning jewel.
Yes, I agree.
You know,
I agree. Yeah.
They've all been building to it. So
Sure.
excellent film.
Great one. Had to mention Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Of course.
We're huge fans of the Turtles.
Yep.
There's 4 of us brothers.
4 brothers.
And so we kind of relate to these characters, and it's just really fun watching a new take on them.
Yeah.
Where they're
yeah.
younger.
Right.
They're very much teenagers. They had teenagers playing the characters, voicing the characters in this animated film, and they all did a great job.
And that's really the key
the
to
relational
what makes this work.
sense and the back and
Yeah.
forth with the dialogue, all of it worked so well. Had a lot of fun action, a great story. Very New York. It's all set in New York City as it should be.
Absolutely. And ugly.
And ugly looking,
Ugly
yeah.
in the best
Because it's
way.
from the perspective of the turtles.
Exactly.
They look normal,
Exactly.
but every human being looks very odd.
Asymmetrical
Right.
and almost like they're slapped together with
Yes,
clay.
exactly.
Yeah, so
the art style is so
graffiti.
unique. Yeah.
So a lot of people draw references to Spider-Verse. Obviously, there's a lot of inspiration.
Sure.
But this distincts itself even from that.
Right.
And it feeling even rougher
Yeah, it does.
and even more jumbled
Yeah, I agree.
and it works in service to the story.
Yes,
Which is
100%.
so smart.
100%. So yeah, that was a great one. The last one I really want to mention for my top 5 or I guess 6 now is The Boys in the Boat. Because The
Wow,
Boys in the
was that
Boat
great?
was released on Christmas.
Yeah.
We just got to see it. But really was impactful. I mean, it really was an engrossing film.
Yeah.
So well shot, so well made.
Right.
The music was great. The acting was great. Everything about it was just a solid movie, straightforward, based on a true story.
George
Sports
Clooney
film.
directed.
George Clooney directed. It's
Yeah.
his best film he's ever directed, by far, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
It's a great movie. Highly recommend it. You can watch our reaction and review on the
Definitely.
channel right now.
The only other things I wanted to mention was The Holdovers. Was a great Christmas
yeah, I still
film.
haven't gotten a chance to see that. yet.
Really loved it. Very great, intimate indie drama
Okay.
that just is kind of about father and sons and legacies
Okay,
and grief and coming over adversity. So
Right,
great
okay.
movie. Very well shot. Very 70s.
Okay.
And very distinct
set in the
its
70s,
style.
right. Yeah.
Set in the 70s, shot like it's in the 70s,
right.
edited
Yeah.
that way.
That's cool.
The characters speak like
Uh-huh.
the dialogue was written back then.
Yeah.
It's very authentic
That's
in that
great.
sense.
That's great. I can't wait to check
The
it out.
only other thing I would mention is Priscilla was also really
Oh,
good.
okay. A24 did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Priscilla was great. Shockingly good.
Okay.
Kind of biopic about Priscilla Presley, Elvis's wife.
Excellent.
Yeah, great film.
Okay, awesome. All right, so those were our favorites of 2023. Now we're going to check with some of the cast members here at Premiere LUX Cinema 8 and Pizza Pub, get their thoughts on the best movies of 2023. All right, Real World, we are here at Premiere LUX Cinema 8 and Pizza Pub with Associate Director Tyler. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We wanted to get some thoughts on the 2023 movies that were released last year. That's what our podcast is all about this week. So just give us some of your favorites. What was the ones that stood out to you?
My favorite one is Spider-Man Across the Multiverse. That's definitely one of my favorites. I watched it. I thought it was great. I love how Miles definitely has matured from the very first film, and you see more of I can't think of her name right now.
Gwen.
Yeah. Which seems like a fake fan that I can think of. But you see more of Gwen and definitely how the decision of her leaving him behind, which spoilers alert. Sorry.
Right.
But I definitely love that one. That's one of my top favorite. And I love how it's drawn. It's always great, like how it's like the cartoon and not cartoon comics. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's just a really great film overall.
It is. Yeah, that's a great one. That was made our top 10 of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one. Any more?
Yes. Oppenheimer is my second.
Okay. I still haven't gotten a chance to see this
yeah,
yet. Unfortunately, I really want to watch it.
It's really great. I think Christopher Nolan did amazing, even though a lot of the time, if you have to watch it a second time or third, But I definitely really love it. It was really great. I love the explosions, of course, and I thought Cillian Murphy did amazing. And the story of it is just so powerful, and I just love it so much. My third is Maestro, which I just saw recently with Bradley Cooper.
That was great.
It's amazing. I thought how he played, the Maestro was absolutely incredible, especially Leonard Bernstein.
Right.
I thought that's such a hard person to, follow. And I love the fact that he took 6 years to actually become the Maestro, and that shows the dedication of the actor. And I love the fact that also Bradley Cooper went from Hangover to this movie. So it's just such a big jump.
Yeah, and he directed it too.
Yeah, I know.
He
Which
directed
is
and started.
insane. I cannot believe, because I read it I think maybe a week ago.
Okay.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I cannot believe he did amazing.
He did.
So I hope he keeps directing.
Me
He
too.
keeps doing great. But yeah, those are my top 3 movies of 2023.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler, for joining us. We're going to go back to the podcast now. Thank you for tuning in. All right, thank you to the amazing staff here at Premiere LUX Cinema 8 Pizza Pub. Now we're going to tell you what is playing right here in theaters. Here's what they've got playing right now. They have Wonka, which is still in theaters. Definitely check that out.
Timothée Chalamet.
We have a review. We have an interview with an Oompa Loompa on the channel
That's
right now.
true, we do. Check it out.
So definitely see that one with the whole family. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the last film of the DCEU.
Yep.
Jason Momoa coming back. Really fun action spectacle. If you want to see that type of movie. Then we've got Migration, another animated film for the whole family. This one's getting really good reviews. I'm actually very curious about it because it's getting a lot of
Illumination
positive.
doesn't have a great track record when
Right.
it comes to family animated comedies. I mean, they're responsible for Minions and Despicable Me and that big mess. But this actually surprisingly looks pretty promising.
It does. I've heard good things. So there's that one. There's Anyone But You. The rom-com is out right now.
Right.
We've also got The Color Purple, the musical version of The Color Purple, the remake, is now in theaters. And as we mentioned before, The Boys in the Boat. That gets our highest recommendation if you get a chance to go see that. Thank you so much to the amazing staff here at Premiere LUX Cinema 8 and Pizza Pub. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. Share this with your friends. We are so excited to be here in the theater, giving you a podcast all about movies, as we should every single week. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here on The Real World.